Number 6. I think what I'm going to do is turn on my grid snap, make sure that's on, and I'm going to turn my object snap off. So I'm going to utilize that grid snap initially, and I'm going to start with the big cylinder here. So I'm going to go to my circle tool and pick a random spot on the grid to get started and make this big circle. There it is, something like that, right? All right. And now I'm going to make the hole that's inside of it. And I want to be sure those are on the same center point. So at this point, you might decide to turn on the object snap. You can see that the center is now lighting up. As you drag your cursor across the previous circle, you can see the center lights up, and you can click on that, and that way they will for sure be concentric. There you go. And so that takes care of the one side, and now I'm going to go to the other side, and then I'll connect them. So as I go to the other side, I need to decide how big that one's going to be. And I'm going to use my rectangle tool to make that. And I think it's just going to be 3 squares. Boy, I feel like it's somewhere between, it's somewhere around there. About that high, maybe. Okay. And now it's time to connect them. So I'm going to use a snap now that you're probably not familiar with. It's a tangent snap. It's going to require my turning the grid off, the grid snap off, object snap on, and I want to make sure that the tangent snap is checked. It's not by default, so you have to come over there and click it. And you're going to see how awesome this is. I'm going to turn it on, and now I'm going to go to my line tool, click on the corner of this guy, that's grabbing the endpoint snap, and then move over to this circle, and I want to see, look at that, the tangent snap light up. See how it says tangent right there? You got to move it around a little bit till it gets to that point. And when it does, and it says the word tangent, you can click and then hit escape. And that is super useful. I'm going to zoom in on that and you can see what it looks like. Look at how smooth that line blends into the arc. That's a tangent. And it only happens if you have the tangent snap on. So be sure right there to turn that one on. Tangent. Turn the nearest off. If you have nearest snap on from any previous exercise, be sure to click that one off. That one should not be left on. I had it on, so I just turned it off. It's a bad habit to get into. That one's like a one-time only thing. But the tangent snap, I leave that one on all the time. All right. And then the other line is going to be really easy. That's just going to go from corner to corner as well. That actually isn't the tangent, although it is tangent to it. You'll see the quadrant snap comes on there, and that'll override it. So that is the front view as far as object lines are concerned, okay? So we'll move on to the top view. Go into my construction line layer, XL, enter, V, enter, and start clicking on important things here. And I'm just going to do all the circle stuff right now. You know, I think I clicked on the wrong spot with that one. Hang on. Be sure you get the quadrants on these guys. Quadrant, quadrant, center, quadrant, quadrant. All right. Now let's go for this top view. Turn my grid snap back on so I can click on these guys here. And all right, that's the basic shape. My thicknesses might be off a little bit, but I'm just snapping to the big squares, so I think that's fine. This line's going to go across all the way. And this corner right here, that's a little off. This line right here extends back a certain amount. And where it extends back to, as you can see in that top view of the object, is this point of tangency here. So I should have made another construction line, and I'll do that right now, that went from the endpoint of this tangency. So I'm going to grab the endpoint of that line right there, boom. So this line, its endpoint, its point of tangency, is where this line actually goes to. There you go. And if you look in that 3D view, you'll have a better understanding of why it does that. Okay, so those are the object lines. And yeah, I think it's time to move on to the right side view. We'll make my transfer line, XL, enter, A, enter, 45, enter. Put that guy right there. And start bringing across my my horizontal construction lines. So construction, XL, enter, H, enter. There we go. I think that'll do it. And then I'll bounce those down, making sure my grid snap is off so I can click right on those intersecting points. Should probably get this guy too. Quadrant. And I'm going to grab the point of tangency for this one as well. Okay. I'm going to trim that transfer line. TR enter, T enter, and use that ability to cut off the lines that are projecting off out into outer space there. And all right, let's do this right side view with the object lines. We got this first one here. You can see there's a little gap right here. This little gap, and that's again that point of tangency. I'll zoom in on that. You can see that guy. That line doesn't go all the way, and that wouldn't show up so well in print, but it's where this line, this angled line ends. That's the point of tangency. For this right side view, what's left is the hole and arc that are on this side. And I know they are concentric. So basically, I need to make a circle who is totally tangent to all three of these sides, right? So it needs to be the midpoint this away and that same distance inward this away, right? Let's see if we can do that. So the midpoint of this line is going to be its center. This line right here, its midpoint is going to be its center. So I'm going to make a construction line that goes through the midpoint, and I've got my object snap on here, and it's clicking on the midpoint of that line. And so now I know that the circle is centered on this line somewhere. For example, it could be centered right. It could be centered right here, any of these places. So, but what I need is the distance. I need, in order to make it not stick out, I need the distance between the center and the top to be the same as the center to the edge here, because I don't want it to stick out, right? So whatever that distance is, it needs to be the same as that distance there. You could just click on it and drag it over until it lines up. You could just eyeball it like this and be like, oh, that's close enough. But that's, that's not how a draftsman works at all. You could count the squares, and that would probably be pretty effective. If you were doing it according to the grid, you could get that on the money. Another way to find the center of this thing would be to use 45-degree angles. So let's give that a shot. If I run a 45-degree angle through each of these corners, XL enter, A enter, 45 enter, do one there. That's the line. That's the point. See how where that one intersects what's going to be the center? Let's try that point. Boom. Look at that, perfect fit. So a 45-degree line going through the corner gave us our center point. So that's the trick on that one. Okay. I'll just, you know what, I'm just gonna leave that there. I'm gonna trim that off on the sides, but I'm gonna leave that guy there so that everybody understands that thing's purpose, that it was used to find the center of that circle. You could also do one from the other corner as well, if you wanted. Okay, so once you got that, you can trim around it. TR enter and get rid of whatever shouldn't be there. That shouldn't be there. And this shouldn't be there. None of that stuff should be there. Right? Okay. You might be wondering what this is behind it. That's the big cylinder that's behind it. That big cylinder's edges are still showing behind it. Okay, and then the last object line that we need to do is going to be the hole that goes through this thing. It has the same center point, so I'm just going to click on that point and drag this thing out. I guess just sort of random size here. Somewhere on the grid should work just fine. I'll say maybe like right there. Okay. So that's it for the object lines for that side. Let's start working on center lines. Since we're here, I will make the center lines for that guy. And to do so, I've already got its horizontal center line. I'm gonna project up its vertical center line. So grab its center point using my object snap and just go straight up. There we go. And I'm gonna bounce that one over as well as its edges. So I should do that right now as well. Get its edges going up. And then bounce those back across. Make sure I'm getting those there. Boom, 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 boom. Excellent. Okay, so now I'm ready to draw the center line of this guy. Go to my center line layer, L enter, and utilizing the grid. And make sure you go beyond the edges because remember that we have this arc that we're also showing the center of, so something like this. And this one, something like that. Okay. And then we'll show its center line in this view here. And of course, right next to it. And that one you can just, because it's right next to it, I'm just going to pull it across. There it is. Okay. So the center lines for that hole and its surrounding arc are complete. That's all the center lines for it. And now we'll take care of the center lines for this large one. Starting out a little bit wider, something like that. And it's just going to go through this one. So I'm just going to drag it across, click on it and just drag it across to the other side because those, they're lined up in the two views there. And in this view over here, its center line would be from there across. There we go. So that is the center lines for all of the holes. And now we'll do the hidden lines. Go to my hidden layer. We can start off with the big one here. So its edges in the top view are seen from there to there. And its edges in the right side view, well, I'm missing some construction lines, so I better put those construction lines in here. Let me grab those. I need one there, I need one there. And is that it? Oh, don't forget this one here. Okay. So I'll put them over here in this view, going across this way. So that big hole is now shown in the top view and the right side view, and its center lines are done. So we're done with that hole and that round. Let's do the smaller one over here. Its hidden lines go across like this in that view, and the same in the top view. There they are. Right across there. There's one last hidden line that I need to put in, and in the right side view, you would see the edge of this big cylinder right here. You'd see its edge where it meets this face over here. We see it as an object line right here. That's what this is. I'll paint it a different color so you can see it. That green one right there that I just highlighted, that is this edge where it meets this face. So we need to continue it down where it goes behind this thing here. So it goes all the way. Okay. There you go. It's also the same edge as this, where this piece right here meets this face. So you could also think of it as being this one right here. Yeah, so I'll turn off the construction line so you can see really well what we got there. There's a fair amount going on. Not the easiest drawing, but that's where we're going, guys. Things are definitely going to get a little more complicated, but you got it.